or fifth offensive knife technique is as your opponent comes to stab you, you're moving to the outside, stabbing him in his sartorius. As you're stabbing him in the sartorius, you're then turning your wrist, slicing out in this position. From this position, you're going to pull his arm this way and stab him at the same time this way. So your body is going to be moving this way, but his arm is going to be moving that way. So as you're stabbing him in this position here, you're then going to bring your blade in this position around the back of his arm with your blade against his neck. From this position, you're going to take him down, slashing him, and then finishing him off with a point to the kidneys. Again, watch the foot movement. As your opponent comes to stab you, step out on a forward directional movement line, a forward angle. He comes, step out, sticking your blade into his sartorius. At the same time, you're also pushing in this position while you're pushing, because if I didn't push in this position, there's nothing to stop him from turning his hand to come to attack me. But when I'm pushing in here, he doesn't want to turn that hand to attack me. Again, everybody thinks they watch something and they go, oh, I just attack him. I'd hit him with that other hand. But what you're not realizing is, the other thing is when I'm holding on to his wrist and striking him into sartorius, I'm going to turn the wrist this way. As I turn the wrist this way, it's going to put my elbow across his elbow, which brings down his other shoulder. So as I do this, and that's bringing down his other shoulder, I'm stabbing him in this position. I'm aware I might not have to do that because he might not be coming to attack me. But if he's coming to attack me, I have to turn this. If he's not coming to attack you, you can just stab him in this position, and stabbing him, it makes him reach this way. And if he's reaching this way, that means this shoulder is moving backwards. So knowing why you're doing what you're doing is very important. Stabbing him in the sartorius, then pulling him in this position, which pulls this shoulder forward and making the other shoulder go backwards rather than coming to attack you. From this position here, you're just going to put your arm across the back of his elbow, and as you push this elbow and you twist this wrist, he's going to come in this position. He came in this position because he wants you to cut his trachea. As you're coming to bring him down, slicing him, getting an extra slice out of it, putting him in a position where you're rotating him so that he can't rotate, bring up his knees and guard himself. So then again, you can finish your attacker off. As your opponent comes to stab you, stepping outside, strike him into the sartorius. Don't forget your foot movement, intercepting across this arm and controlling his arm in this position here. As you go to pull him this way, which retracts his other shoulder and allows you to stick your blade into his ribs, in this position taking him down. He may be a really strong guy, he may be pulling back, it doesn't really matter. It's just that if he does, you always are one step ahead of him. In this position here, putting your blade across his neck, becoming the leverage against your own arm, taking him down and slicing his neck. In this position here, my knee is dug into the back of his tricep, controlling his wrist, putting myself in a position to stab him in his kidneys. Again, a bit closer as your opponent comes to stab you, coming into the sartorius. Slashing it out, poking into his ribs. I'll let it go past his ribs because I don't want to hurt him in this case. Pulling him across. In this position, you might not notice it, but I also have my knee covering the back of his knee down here where I can take his center of gravity away if he was too strong for me. If I don't just come up here on purpose, it's usually because while I'm stabbing somebody, they're trying to pull their arm back, and as they're pulling their arm back, I'm utilizing that own motion, covering and controlling their elbow, putting my blade across their neck, then stepping back across. Again, I can check him with this knee or check him with this knee, slashing him and pointing him into the kidneys. Holding the wrist in this position, allowing me to control his weapon. Offensive technique number 5, again, your opponent comes to stab you, stepping outside. At the same time as you're stepping outside, you're skewering his sartorius with your blade. In this position here, you're going to slice out across the sartorius and sticking your blade into his kidneys as you're pulling with your other arm across. In this position, you're then going to bring your arm, covering the back of his elbow, and putting your blade across his neck. From this position, you're just going to walk away, slashing his neck, putting yourself in the controlling mode to stab him here, or you could have been in a position with this knee. Both knees will work and accomplish what you want to do.